Book-style foldables have always carried with them an unsavory byproduct. They're chonky and they're heavy, and that is changing. It's been 6 years since the original Galaxy Fold launched, and a lot has changed leading up to the Galaxy Z Fold 7. I've been given a short weekend to spend with the Z Fold 7. While that's not enough time for a full review, I definitely have thoughts. First and foremost, this is one seriously slim foldable. Samsung really isn't lying when they say that it's hardly thicker than the USB-C port that you see down there. It's just slightly thicker than that. 8.9 millimeters when folded. All right, so when it's folded, that's not, of course, not accounting for the extra thickness of the camera bump. That's the rest of the body, the majority of the body anyways. When you compare that against the S25 Ultra, which yes, is an Ultra phone, so it's a little thicker, right, than most candy bars. The Ultra is 8.2 millimeters thin, so very slightly thinner than the Z Fold 7. But I also have the S24 Ultra here, 8.6 millimeters. So we're kind of getting into a similar zone. And then even further, a phone that I reviewed on my channel not too long ago, the Google Pixel 9a is, you guessed it, 8.9 millimeters thin. So what this says, what this tells me, is that foldables are now just as thin as candy bar phones, and I think it's gonna get even thinner, although we are running up against kind of the maximum amount of thinness, at least on the side where the USB-C port exists, right? You can't go any thinner than that. So there will be a limit, but we are there for the most part. Weight-wise, 215 grams, still heavier than most candy bar smartphones, but ever so slightly lighter than the S25 Ultra, which sits at 218 grams, 215, 218. So these are definitely in the same ballpark. And then we blow it out of the water with the S25 Edge at 163 grams, but there's really no comparison between these. One thing you really notice though on a daily basis is that in the pocket, this does not feel like a different kind of phone the way previous foldables have. They usually have this like brick-like quality. You know that it's a different type of phone that's in your pocket. I'm very used to the Ultra series, and being that these are very similar in weight and thinness, that probably explains it. But you're going to be less likely to notice this phone when it's in your pocket because it's just kind of more normal now. Cover display is still a very tall ratio at 21:9, but it is much better. It's pretty manageable one-handed. I can more or less, when I'm holding it and not trying to also shoot footage, operate it one-handedly. I might have to do a little scooching in order to get the extremes, but it's not horrible. Unlike the inside display of the Motorola Razr Ultra, which is just too tall for that. It's just so much taller that when you have it unfolded, doing one-handed operation on the Razr Ultra is too difficult. I do have a full video review of that if you want to see what I'm talking about. The quality of the cover display is excellent. It's actually protected also by Gorilla Glass Ceramic 2, and I found that to come in really handy when I'm propping the phone glass side on a table in order to operate camera mode. And I don't want the glass that's facing down, if I happen to be on like concrete or something like that, to be prone to scratches while I have it in this mode that it's designed to do. And so it's nice to have that protection there. Helped me feel a little bit more comfortable and confident that I could set it down and use it the way I wanted to. Now, as for the inside display, it is now 8 inches, a larger 8 inches. It's beautiful, excellent colors, excellent brightness when I'm outdoors. I didn't have any problem with sunlight usage on that interior display. And I think the big takeaway for me is how far we've come when it comes to the crease. I'm trying to show it off here, and you can see it's very difficult to find, and actually even more so when you're using the phone on a regular basis, just in your day-to-day, you will not feel that crease necessarily when you're using the phone, and you will hardly see it. And if you do, I mean, it's barely there, and it just makes me realize that we're finally in the realm of the foldable crease not really mattering. The technology has come so far in the last handful of years, and that's a really good sign. Hey, really quick, like, subscribe, bell, win. See, it's super easy to win. That's all you got to do. Okay, back to it. Now, one thing I really noticed in my short time with this phone is the hinge. Yes, it's an amazing hinge. They actually shrunk it down, so it's a little bit smaller. They had to do that in order to get the narrowness of the phone down, right? And it's an excellent quality hinge, feels really durable and tough. But wow, is this phone difficult to open on a daily basis. If I don't have a case, I kind of wish that there was a little bit of a notch here or an indentation where the fingers can go to easily pop it open. And I'm guessing that over time I would probably get used to that. But I think the reason is that these sides are now so small that you have a small area with which to plant each finger in order to kind of pry it open. And that excellent quality hinge is doing its job, but as a result, I had a couple of times where my fingers would slide off of the small little area that they have, and I was a little concerned that I was gonna drop the phone. Thankfully, I did not, but you just kind of have to hold on tight. I imagine as you use this on a regular basis, you'll get kind of used to how you strategize around opening it on a regular basis. I think it's a fair trade. I want a high quality hinge, but I'd hate to drop this trying to open it. As for the software, I mean, what can you say? It's a Snapdragon 8 Elite. This sucker flies with everything that you throw at it. Also, 7 years of updates, and that combined with this beefy processor means that this is definitely gonna last the test of time. If you don't trade it in for a future one, that is, because as we know by now, Samsung is great with its trade-in values to bring you to upgrade land the next time they have a new phone out. So, you're gonna have to resist that. But if you do resist it and you wanna hold on to this for 7 years, I have no doubt that this thing's gonna last. Now, camera-wise, I didn't really test out many of the cameras on a deep level. I did take some nice shots with the 200 megapixel ultra-wide. That's the real big improvement on the Z Fold 7. 200 megapixels means you get a lot of extra detail that you often lose in other smartphones. It tends to be a place where they cheapen out in order to bring the price down, I believe. But for whatever reason, ultra-wides sometimes are kind of long forgotten in the upgrade path. But here, things look excellent. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing, a lot of detail, and I'm excited to use it when I can spend more time with it. Obviously, you get Samsung's AI and Gemini embedded, all sorts of things throughout the phone. I didn't really dive into these during my weekend with the device though. But we have to talk about the price. This is the most expensive Z Fold yet at right around $2,000. There's also no more S Pen support. That's gonna disappoint a lot of fans of the S Pen. You gotta imagine it was stripped away for a reason. Is it price? Is it the fact that it wasn't being used? I'll leave that up to you to decide. It's a bummer nonetheless to see it go. I really hope to see these prices drop in the near future, and that doesn't seem to be happening. So for this book style foldable smartphone, I don't know. I hope we see it. I'm not entirely convinced that we will. In all, I'm really happy I got a short amount of time with this phone. Big thanks to my friend Florence Ion, also co-host on the Android Faithful podcast. We're gonna be sharing more about the phone on the podcast in the coming weeks. Definitely don't wanna miss it. If you like foldables, definitely catch my full review of the Moto Razr Ultra on this channel. And make sure and leave a comment while you're here and let me know if the Z Fold 7 addresses your long-term concerns about book-style foldables. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.